What's going on, everyone? Listen, Diddy's defense team rests, and the prosecution team also is like, we rest. So, what does this all mean? I haven't been doing a whole lot of videos, just, a sprinkle here and there about the Diddy trial. But, at first, I was like, oh, it's not looking good for Diddy. Oh, they're gonna get a RICO. Oh, this, oh that. And I thought that the prosecuting team had a really great case at the beginning, you know, and really for 7 weeks, what we have talked about is just disgusting things, what they've talked about. And it's just really sex charged things. I don't even know if I can say it. It was just weird stuff that we learned about Diddy and the freak offs as they were, and the different people that were involved in the list of folks that may have been at a party, and it was just a hot mess. Now, one thing we can't make light of is that infamous video of Cassie, you know, um, and the question if she was trafficked or, we heard too much about the things that was happening to her body and from all the activity and just all this ugh, awful things, you know. And then, Jane Doe's that approached this, then they, turns out that they were, lying, some of them. So I mean, like I said, I don't know all the details, but I did keep up with as much as I could. It was just all too, just just too much. Okay. Um. So I do have my CNN app always. That breaking news. I love CNN. In court today, both sides rest. Sorry if you hear noise. My upstairs neighbors are just a hot mess. Sean Diddy Combs' defense team rested after presenting a roughly 30-minute case and calling zero witnesses in the music mogul's federal criminal trial. Earlier today, the prosecution rested its case, which took just over 6 weeks. What happens next? Prosecutors said they do not intend to present a rebuttal case. Interesting. The judge told the jury to return on Thursday for closing arguments. The lawyers will meet tomorrow for a charge conference where both sides will discuss what instructions will be given to the jury. Federal charges. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that include racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. If convicted on all counts, he would face up to life in prison. Now, do you guys think, and put in the comments, please click the subscribe button and the bell. Do you guys think that he is really going to get life in prison or if he's going to get a guilty verdict? Because, they were unable to really have a good case, the prosecuting team, showing if it was a RICO or showing of any of these, really. what it showed for 6.5 weeks or 7 weeks, um, that he was a horrible boyfriend, that he was just gross. But that's not a crime. If you or someone is, oh wait, oh, let me, oh, I'll read this anyways. If you or someone is struggling with intimate partner violence, this is the editor's notes on CNN. There are resources available, including the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I'll read this. Before the lunch break, the prosecution rested their case after 6 weeks, 6 weeks of testimony from 34 witnesses. Before the jury returned from lunch, the defense made a Rule 29 motion, arguing that the prosecution did not meet its burden to prove their case against Sean Diddy Combs. Once the jury returned from lunch, the defense presented and rested their case. Rule 29 motion, which is Combs' defense attorney Alexandra Shapiro made a Rule 29 motion, a routine motion typically made by the defense in a criminal trial after the government rests its case for a judgment of acquittal on all counts, arguing that the government failed to meet its burden to prove the counts against Combs. Hmm. The defense case, Combs' defense attorney Anna Esteval, Esteval began to present the defense's case by reading several text messages between Ventura and Combs into the record that showed the two pos- positively discussing plans for a freak off. The defense rested its case by the end of the day. Wow. The jury will not be present at court on Wednesday. They will return on Thursday when closing arguments are expected to begin. And one of the prosecutors also told the judge that they don't think the jury will begin deliberating until Monday. That's got to be nerve wracking, um, for Diddy because, you know, I'm sure he wants to know the fate of, the future. Am I going to be locked in a cage? You know, I've been, seeing people in certain chats on social media, and a lot of people think he's not going to get convicted. You know, he's not going to get it. That he may just, you know, be released. It's just that's what it's looking like. Mm. Also, some of these people, like for example, Daniel Phillip, a man Sean Diddy Combs allegedly hired to have, um, intercourse with Cassie, told law enforcement in a December 2023 meeting that a female client once called him and said her husband asked what she wanted and she requested to be rubbed down in oil by another man. So these are stipulation notes. Some witnesses did not initially report threats or sexual contact by Combs to law enforcement. So that's what the prosecuting team is, I'm sure frustrated because they really don't have people saying that they were, except for Cassie, but people are saying we were called by Cassie or we were called by Diddy to have these, interactions and have these little get-togethers, and it was consensual. There was a lot of consensual talk going on, during this whole case, allegedly. So, mm, this is so interesting. And in some of the text messages, um, that Ventura discussed freak offs and drugs allegedly in 2017 text. So it's just, though I cannot unsee what was done to her. I don't condone violence against women or people in general, but the text messages, the I want, there was a message where Diddy was like, "We shouldn't do this. You have." I think she had some sort of thing that was like a get together, or I don't know if it was like something honoring her. I think it was maybe a debut of her single or something. Don't quote me. He was like, "We should, lay off the drugs tonight. Tonight we're honoring you, because she's a singer." And I think this was like the second week in court. I'm not too sure because, like I said, I'm just off and on with this. And she says, "No, I'm really down to do the freak off and to order more stuff that's involved with these get-togethers." I'm talking weird because I don't know what certain words I can't say on platforms, but you get my drift. So there was receipts showing her like, "I'm down. Let's, even though it's a big day for me and I need to stay focused and I shouldn't be doing this. It should be about me." It. So it's like, that's if they were trying to get Diddy, it's just not looking like it's gonna stick because it's just off and on. There is regret, and then there is details of what her body went through, all of this that she spoke about. But then on the other hand, you're asking, it's just, I don't know, it's so confusing because at the end of the day, I'm a girl's girl, and I'm for, the rights of women, but still am. It's just this, it's so loaded. It's so many things going on. That's why I didn't really do a lot of um videos about this, because it's like you almost feel guilty because the facts are there, but you don't want to say, "Well, I see that you weren't happy in this relationship," but then it shows you had a lot of happy times. It's just so weird because it's like, if he did all these horrible things, I want Cassie to get justice, and all other people, and males or females, allegedly, that were harmed by him, that, but the facts are the facts. And what are they really? It's so much. It's showing that it was consensual, and then sometimes it shows it doesn't. So listen, I'm glad I'm not on the jury. just know I'm praying for everyone involved. And I would say this to Diddy: if you get off, I hope that you really take some time to just be with your family and sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere. Go somewhere and really sit down, reflect on what has happened. And if you get this second chance, brother, get some help for everything, whether it, drugs, sexual addiction, whatever it may be. De just detox, detox, and renew your life in such a way that you're not going to care about the fame, whether someone's going to forgive you or not. Have and restart. And if you listen, I don't judge anybody's relationship with God, but if you don't have one, get one now, right now. Even if you don't have the results yet of what's going to happen to you, the one thing that you can count on is God's love. God's love. That's all you need. God's guidance. I'm in right now in my life. That's why I can't pass judgment on people. Because when you are broken internally, you do some weird stuff. And I've been there. And and then when you really want the help, this is what I'm going to tell you. You're going to look at the aftermath and the destruction that you may have caused. Because I'm dealing with that part of the journey is so pivotal. It is so eye opening. It's scary, it's sad, but you have to go through the valley. You got to look at all the damage. It's not just, oh, he forgive me and okay, let's move on. No. If you want to be changed, you got to look at all the things that even in the midst of when you were doing, you can't even recall. Wait. It's like being awakened, by a drunken stupor, or just drunk in a drug haze, in a bubble that you just don't remember. And I used to always, I've said this in several videos, I used to always give people the side eye when they would say, I don't remember. I just I don't understand what happened to me. And I used to really be so triggered by that because I'm like, are you not trying to take responsibility? And sometimes people do that when they don't. I'm not saying they don't. But what I can relate to is the aftermath. And you're like doing this walk with God. He's pointing at, do you remember that? This is how you need to change that. Or do you remember that situation? He's not doing that as a punishment. He's trying to rebuild you and show you ways of the things that happen, because this walk, baby, the process is so hurtful because it's like, whoa, was I that gone? That I did that or this or hurt that person or that. I mean, you sometimes when you're in the midst of your mess, I get it now when people say, I just don't remember that time. And I used to get so mad. How could you not remember you was there? But I get it in some aspects of it, because when you are repeating something or a way of life or a lifestyle, and you're in it, but you are not that cognizant or conscious of what is transpiring in that moment. And I never thought that I would ever say this, but that is true. It's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, but I pray for those that is going through this and that is at the rebuilding stage, at the stage of accountability. It's scary, it's hard, but you can get through it. He's not gonna leave you. And yes, you're gonna feel shameful, but it's okay. It's okay. God has you. I want to thank you, my subscribers and new followers. Thank you so much um, for standing by me. Those that been with me day one, you know that I'm not always, making videos. Sometimes I'm just so overwhelmed with my 9 to 5 and caretaking that I just don't, get the chance to do this as often. But I enjoy talking to you and sharing my life because if I could just help one person, you know, um, that is fine by me. If I could just raise my hand and say, hey, I'm going through it, you're not alone. You're not alone. You know, God knows everything. And the good news is that even the most heinous things, He still loves you because He had the blueprint already of what your life was going to be. To know that you already have that love, already unconditional, because He already knew who you are when you were formed in your mother's womb. To know that He already knew what your future was going to look like. That always just, it, it just baffles me. I'm just like, to have a person love you already knowing the dirtiness of you. Think about that. He knows. He knows.